Okay, let's unpack this. You're trying to navigate this shifting global trade landscape, and right now, new tariffs are definitely making waves.
Yeah.
Especially for supply chains, warehousing, and port operations right here in Houston.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
The immediate challenge is pretty clear. You need to be prepared, proactive, not just reactive, particularly in this economic environment. So, for this deep dive, we've pulled some key insights, mainly from an article on versacreated.com called How to Future-Proof Your Supply Chain, and also the Houston Lexicon, an ASCM Houston guide.
Good sources.
Our mission today is really to distill the most vital, actionable strategies you can use, like right now, to keep your business competitive and resilient.
And what's really crucial to understand here, I think, is that the initial stuff, the ripple effects.
Right.
Things like increased storage demand, maybe port congestion, changes in customs times.
Yeah.
Well, those are truly just the beginning.
Just the surface
It's
level.
Exactly. The real prize, the ultimate goal is building that long-term resilience. This deep dive is all about taking a proactive stance. How can businesses genuinely future-proof their supply chains?
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, how do you turn all that uncertainty into a real source of strength?
Yeah.
Adaptability.
Okay, so where do you start before you can even think about reacting to these tariff changes? The first big piece, it seems, is really digging deep into your own supply chain. You need that granular understanding, right? How these tariffs will directly hit your specific operation.
That's spot on.
We're talking everything from raw materials to finished goods, even those intermediate components.
Yep, and how it all flows through to your costs.
How does it impact your overall cost structure? That's the key question.
That's right. And for this, look, supply chain folks absolutely must team up with their finance and procurement departments, no question.
Makes sense. Silos won't work here.
Not at all. You need to conduct thorough scenario modeling, basically, playing those what-if games with your numbers, and detailed landed cost analyses. That's where you figure out the true all-in cost of getting a product from wherever it starts right to your warehouse store. Tariffs, shipping, everything.
Okay, so landed costs are critical.
Absolutely. And you'll want to leverage tools like tariff lookup databases, predictive modeling software, things like that.
Gotcha.
Ask yourself, what specific SKUs, your product codes or commodities are actually affected? Where are my highest risk suppliers located? And, this is crucial, how could my current lead times change? Think about port slowdowns, increased inspection.
Right, those potential bottlenecks.
Understanding your exposure at this level, well, it helps you avoid those nasty, costly surprises and build genuinely smarter responses.
Okay, so once you've really dug into those numbers, seen where you're vulnerable, the next logical step seems to be building in some flexibility, diversifying suppliers and trade routes.
Exactly. When tariffs jump, it often forces companies to completely reevaluate their sourcing strategy.
And if you're operating out of Houston, you're kind of in a unique spot here, aren't you?
You really are.
Because of the region's, incredible multimodal infrastructure.
Yeah.
And its proximity to Latin America, the Gulf Coast.
Absolutely. A smart move to cut down that financial risk is to look at suppliers in countries not directly hit by the tariffs, especially those with existing free trade agreements with the U.S. That helps.
Okay.
Think about developing dual sourcing strategies, where you can easily shift volume between different suppliers if one route suddenly gets too expensive or blocked.
Flexibility again.
Precisely. Nearshoring is also a huge opportunity. Bringing production closer to home often slashes both tariffs and transport lead times.
Win-win.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
And if Port Houston gets jammed up, which can happen, don't forget you have options. Explore alternative ports of entry, even inland ports, intermodal rail hubs outside the city. They can provide crucial backups.
Good point. Look beyond the obvious.
The shift here is really away from relying on just one single point towards building a much more robust, adaptable network.
Yeah, spreading the risk.
Yeah.
Now, this tariff-driven uncertainty, it must directly impact your physical operations too. Warehousing in Houston, for instance.
Oh, definitely.
It forces those tricky timing decisions.
Yeah.
Do you front-load inventory before tariffs hit, maybe? Or do you scale back shipments to dodge high costs?
Either way, it puts immense pressure on warehouse availability and labor and operating costs.
Especially in Houston's market, which, let's face it, is already pretty tight. Population growth, high trade volume.
Exactly. Which is why agile inventory management is just so vital now.
So what does that look like in practice?
Well, businesses can prepare by significantly boosting visibility. Real-time inventory tracking, robust demand forecasting tools. You need to see what's happening.
Data is key.
It really is. It's also incredibly wise to negotiate flexible storage contracts. Or maybe explore shared warehousing space, think dynamic storage.
Interesting. Shared resources.
Yeah. And for buffering those demand spikes, or maybe facilitating faster e-commerce delivery, micro-fulfillment centers are an option worth looking into, closer to the customer.
Okay.
Now look, maintaining some buffer inventory can be smart, definitely. But you've got to remember that overstocking carries its own risks. Holding costs, obsolescence.
It's a balancing act.
It absolutely is. The right warehousing strategy really balances that preparedness with efficiency. So a critical question for you, the listener, is how can you make sure your physical footprint can actually flex with unpredictable demand?
Navigating all this uncertainty, from potential customs delays to rising freight costs, it really highlights how crucial technology has become.
Totally agree.
It's not just a nice-to-have anymore, is it? It feels like a key enabler for building that resilience.
Indeed. And there are several key technologies businesses should seriously be exploring right now.
Like what?
Well, supply chain visibility platforms, for instance, they're game changers, giving you real-time updates on cargo status, shipment delays, customs processing.
Seeing the whole picture.
Exactly. Then you've got AI and machine learning-based demand planning systems. These can help you manage inventory with far greater accuracy, especially during those wild demand swings we're seeing.
Smarter forecasting.
Right. Automated trade compliance tools are also essential. They help ensure accurate HTS classifications. That's the harmonized tariff schedule code that determines tariffs and precise tariff calculations. Cuts down errors.
Need that accuracy.
And effective warehouse management systems, WMS. They allow for truly flexible inventory control, optimizing labor use, all that good stuff.
So the tech helps manage the complexity.
What's truly powerful about these tools, really, is how they empower businesses to react faster, reduce human error, and get a much clearer understanding of the financial impact of it all.
But it's not just about the fancy software and data, is it?
No, definitely not.
Because at the end of the day, you still need people.
Yeah.
And those critical partnerships to make it all actually work.
100%.
Tariffs will affect container volumes, inspection times, and while Port Houston has done a great job modernizing its infrastructure lately, increased volume or new regulations can still lead to frustrating delays.
That's absolutely right. And that's why establishing consistent, proactive communication with your partners, your freight forwarders, your 3PLs, third-party logistics providers, your customs brokers, is absolutely critical.
Constant contact.
You need to understand how your containers are prioritized at the port. Are value-added services available, like demurrage management that helps you avoid those costly fees when containers get stuck?
Good to know.
And working with these partners to create contingency plans for rerouting or rescheduling shipments if things go sideways, it's essential.
So strong relationships matter.
Businesses with strong logistics relationships, well, they'll undoubtedly be much better positioned to navigate capacity constraints and maintain service levels even when tariffs change the game.
Okay, so we've talked tech, we've talked partnerships. What about the internal team? These disruptions, they aren't just about goods moving around, right? They demand knowledgeable teams, people who can interpret changes, adjust processes on the fly, communicate effectively.
You've hit on a really key point. This makes it an ideal time to really invest in supply chain education and professional development for your team.
Upskilling.
It truly is. Encourage your teams to stay updated on trade policy changes, global economic indicators. It's like having radar for your business, right?
Yes, staying informed.
Pursuing certifications, maybe continue learning in logistics, procurement, compliance. It's invaluable.
Like those APC certifications.
Exactly. Those are highly regarded. And participating in industry associations, local ones like ASCM Houston or national ones, it's a fantastic way to stay connected, informed, access crucial resources.
Networking and learning.
This really makes you think, though. How do you cultivate a team that can adapt as quickly as the market itself changes, turning disruption into a chance to learn and grow?
That's a deep question. So, stepping back, what does all this mean for the long game? Tariffs might fluctuate, policies shift, but that fundamental need for resilient, flexible supply chains, that seems permanent.
I think it is. It's the new normal.
The ultimate goal isn't just about responding to this set of tariffs, is it? It's about designing operations that can genuinely withstand future shifts, whatever causes them: politics, pandemics, climate events.
Exactly. To truly future-proof your supply chain, you need to embed a risk assessment into your regular operations. Make it routine. like a quarterly business review.
Make risk assessment standard practice.
Yeah, and reassessing your supplier and transportation strategies regularly, maybe every quarter, is a smart move in this environment.
Constant review.
Utilizing advanced analytics to model those long-term scenarios can provide invaluable foresight, see what might be coming.
Looking further ahead.
And interestingly, investing in sustainable practices can actually reduce your exposure to geopolitical tensions and resource scarcity, adds another layer of resilience.
That's a fascinating connection. Sustainability as resilience.
It is. What's truly remarkable is how forward-thinking businesses really treat every disruption not as some terrible setback, but as an opportunity, a chance to get stronger, more adaptable.
And when it comes to staying prepared, especially right here in Houston, you mentioned ASCM Houston. That sounds like a practical resource.
It absolutely is. The Association for Supply Chain Management Houston chapter. It's an incredibly valuable place for foresight, training, networking.
What do they offer specifically?
Well, as the Houston Lexicon Guide points out, ASCM Houston offers workshops, seminars, specifically on supply chain risk management and trade compliance, things we've been talking about.
Very relevant.
They also provide opportunities for certification through those highly regarded APSS programs. That's really the leading professional certification in supply chain, and ongoing education to help you stay ahead of economic and policy changes.
Continuous learning.
As the Versa Creative article emphasizes, preparing your supply chain is just essential, not just for navigating today's tariffs, but really for building that long-term success.
Okay, so bringing it all together, what does this all mean for you, the listener? The core message seems pretty clear. Proactive preparation, diversification, suppliers, routes, leveraging technology smartly, building strong partnerships, and continuous learning for your team.
That sums it up well.
Those are absolutely vital for enduring supply chain resilience.
Oh,
We really hope this deep dive serves as a bit of a shortcut, helps you get well informed on this critical topic, and maybe encourages you to explore these strategies for your own operations.
and looking at the bigger picture, while tariffs are, a clear and present concern right now, the true long-term value, I believe, lies in designing a supply chain that thrives. Not just despite volatility, but maybe even because it has embraced constant adaptation as its core principle.
Adaptation is the core.
Yeah, and this really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How can you foster that culture, a culture of continuous learning, proactive adaptation within your own organization? Seeing every market shift not as a threat, but as a genuine chance to innovate and strengthen.